Hey folks, welcome. Today we have a story from the subreddit Surviving Infidelity. This one is about yet another wife who cheated while her husband was deployed. Stay tuned for my personal opinion at the end. Let's go. Part 1. Me, 38-year-old male. 3 children ages 15, 13, 6. First marriage of 18 years. Betrayed by spouse once previously, almost 3 years ago, fully recovered. At least I was. Here we go. I went on deployment 4 years ago. I came back. My spouse's heart had been screwed into confusion by a mentally handicapped addict on welfare. She had only just begun an affair that lasted another 3 years. This affair started off with asphyxiation at the hands of the affair partner. He attempted to choke her to death. I found out about the affair at roughly the 1-year mark, during which wife confessed to him about the choking. I did all the work in renewing things. We bonded hysterically for 7 to 8 months. It was nice. I sought counseling, enrolled in a master's program, started a new career, hit the gym, and got a nice rental in a good part of town, where the kids were safe and challenged by stringent academic programs. My wife, she's back in school and learning to sculpt metals. She seemed happy and is growing in ways that I absolutely adore. Meanwhile, however, the bedroom fizzled out again. I mistakenly believed that this was the result of her IUD and low libido, which I'm now accepting of. Talk about your bias. Turns out that she rekindled the affections of Mr. Welfare last summer. It also turns out that this time I have contracted chlamydia. Diagnosis and treatment came 3 weeks ago. Exposure was last summer during their tryst. The twist. I worked on myself. I assumed that I should issue myself a secret hall pass and see if I still have some game, and I do. I've had a couple of lovers this past year who are, well, enthusiastic. We get our tests and we use protection. So the STI was something that I got treated and quietly meditated on. Where did this STI come from? This morning's discovery came from Mr. Welfare's new fiancée. She was likely fed up with my wayward spouse's pursuit of her man. So there's the twist. I've found lovers, she went back to the old one. It almost sounds like we suck at marriage, except we really don't. Kids are well adjusted, and my wife and I still seek the affection from each other primarily. There's just 18 years of life mixed up in there and a failure to change and grow along with each other. I still make her laugh on a daily basis. I've accepted that I no longer received the benefit of her libidinous urges, which are alive and well after all. If your reply to that assertion is that I don't deserve them, you may dispense with the morality. My ears are deaf to judgment from anyone who hasn't walked a mile in my shoes. So, although I knew that we needed to rekindle our passion, I was hoping for my upcoming vasectomy and her IUD removal to be the spark. Here's where we currently sit. I've stated that I am committed to our marriage and I'm not calling it quits. I've also stated that I'm not staying in it for the children. She has to commit also. Otherwise, I'm not really willing to rebuild with this person again. Why can't we both have our side lovers? I offered to clear a path for her to be out in the open with her mentally handicapped boyfriend. She has my compliance. I guess that little mustard seed of control is still too much. It seems that Mr. Welfare has someone with a place of their own now, and he wants nothing to do with my spouse anymore. Why she has no idea about my lover? Duh. Rationalize the answer for yourself or leave the topic alone. I've boosted my appeal. I've invested in my earnings potential, and I've kept my temple pleasant for those who are starved for intimacy. I've done everything else, studied how to satisfy a lady, how to court, how to bring home the bacon. I have not, nor will I ever, tell an affair partner that I love them more than my spouse or that I stopped loving her years ago. That's a line that she may cross and that your spouses may have crossed. I will always at least be true to myself and maintain the slightest kernel of integrity. What do you think? Should I also clear a path for divorce and explore as amicable of a split as possible? Should I encourage her to keep working with me? We have hundreds of beautiful memories and more ahead of us, but I can share those with any number of seasoned gals out there. No, I will not disclose my affairs with the prospect of divorce looming, though I may cease what I'm doing and dedicate completely to her. Update 1. With 18 years of marriage and 3 kids, I just converted my wayward spouse to a soon-to-be ex this morning. I felt odd later as she served me up one of those gaggy, slobbery BJs. I think that I understood as I really wanted to return the favor. I wanted to feel something other than turmoil for the first time in days. I wanted the same for her, but menstruation. Bummer. I didn't realize that telling a woman to pack her bags and get out was somehow arousing to her. How many divorcees here saw their marital sex increase as they got closer to Independence Day? Edit. She was absolutely at her most remorseful today. She used a fake email ID, fake Facebook profile, and went so far as to use the payphone. Those are professional level tactics. The only thing missing was private browser sessions. So, we will soon decide when to inform the children of the divorce. She's agreed to joint custody, my right to establish residence, and 0% financial support from me. Since I told her this morning that I've made my decision and we are divorcing, we've had the most relaxed, peaceful, and easygoing conversation in years. She would have needed to have talked out her Madonna issues and her estranged daddy issues with either her psychologist or her shrink the first time around 2 years ago. Didn't work. Won't go this route again. There are weak people in this world, and we either grow into strong ones or we don't. Personally, I viewed my own self-worth through my spouse's eyes. This is how I ended up with a spider web of fissures in my own heart. Because in her eyes, something about me had changed into a less acceptable person. When I stood apart as a genuinely good fella and said I am the prize that she no longer deserves, that is when her present was flooded with light. She swims in an ocean of truth now, and I am no longer hers to cheat on. She won her prize, and it turned out to be quite honestly a lesser person in every category imaginable. The sad part is that the other man who she turned to is now engaged to someone else, and I will end up with the kids without the slightest bit of fighting. The moral of this story is that affairs can really cost you everything and then some. You can even lose who you are. Final update. I'm asking her to leave, and I'm starting to fill out a decree after 18 years and 3 children. She and the kids are crying a lot. Because this was precipitated by her numerous ongoing affairs that I had caught her at once previously, I'm not crying nearly as much. I'm helping her pack. In order to protect the kids from the knowing about the reason she's leaving, we have agreed to be silent about the reason. I feel like my not crying as much as the rest causes me to seem emotionless, which I'm not. This could be interpreted as a grudge or a reason. What do I do? Quick. Edit. The decree will make a dandy slapping sound when I present it to her. Plus, landing on my feet with amazing speed is how this is going to play out. I'm keeping her kids and moving on with a better life. Why do wayward spouses cry when a betrayed spouse decides to end things? I mean, waywards are the ones who tear the families apart. Betrayeds are just making things official. So they really expect the betrayed spouses to always stick around? Anyways, I'm glad OP decided to leave. He surely upgraded his life and walking away with a lot more while she's still stuck in the fog. Now for some comments. Your children will have trust issues with you and in their adult relationships if you don't explain the problems you and SO are having. They can handle more than you think, as long as it's age appropriate. The more you communicate to them during this process, the more they'll continue trusting you. SO and you should determine what's appropriate to share so that neither of you seem like the villain. The kids are going to go through enough with all of this as it is. There will be a time and a place to tell them what happened, but it isn't now. For the 6-year-old especially. All the kids need to know is that the two of you are really struggling to deal with some really serious problems, and that you are going to keep them out of the middle of it.